I'm sitting here with Pirate Bob, who's going to enlighten us on a few things about our history in this country, starting off with the Roswell crash. So, Bob, why don't you tell us all about what you know about the Roswell?
Well, basically, in the 70s, if I can go back as far as the 60s, I was interested in UFOs, flying saucers, whatever. I was a big science fiction fan, too, at the time. When I got into the military, United States Air Force, when I got to my final destination at March Air Force Base as a aircrew life support, I had all these nice clearances I could play with. I had top secret, eyes only. I go, ooh, let's have some fun. So I called up a friend of mine. He was stationed over at Dayton, Ohio at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And since he was in that type of position, I said, hey, Bill, can you send me some stuff on Roswell? I'm kind of interested. Everything you got on Roswell, send me a copy, and we'll take it from that. I'm just doing this little research of mine. He said, no problem. But about a week and a half to a week later, I got this big little envelope. Had a whole lot of stuff in it. Also, a little note was in it too, saying, when you're done, return. Do not copy. Okay. So, after about a week or two, I was reading everything, studying everything, and going, ooh, this actually did happen.
Now, here's my question. How much stuff did you find? Like, how big was the document?
Oh,
like, how thick?
not that thick.
About an inch or so thick?
Inch and a half thick, yeah.
So that's a lot of pages. That's a couple hundred pages of reports here. So, okay, so what did you find?
Now, first of all, something did happen. According to reports, they assumed at least 3 aircraft came in that night. It was a very stormy night, the most violent in history in Roswell. The next day, a rancher discovered a large debris field. He thought some type of aircraft had crashed. He contacted first the sheriff's department, then they contacted the military at Roswell Air Force Base, and they all went down there, started looking around. That's when the Air Force said, hey, I think we might have a crashed flying saucer here, because everything was just too weird looking. Metal that could be folded in and then, go back into the original design and shape. Other thing, pieces of metal with weird markings and stuff. No bodies, but so yeah, we got something here. So immediately they released it in the newspaper that day that they had found a crashed flying saucer, because that's one way to describe it. And it went to the local news and everything, even on the radio and stuff, and it was big news. Next thing you know, the next day, the United States Army, who still had control of the Air Force, said no. Stated as a crashed weather balloon. And that's when the entire thing was hushed up. They took all the stuff they found and the debris field. Took them several days to get everything up, and including using metal detectors and things. And it all was carted back to the base, and later was transported to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. But the strange thing was, a couple days later, some hikers came across a crashed ship, which was almost intact. Anyway, according to the news service, about 4 or 5 alien bodies, which seemed to be either dying or still alive. And at the same time, the military came up. They spotted the hikers, warned them to get the hell out of there, otherwise their bodies would never be found again. So they quickly took off. I'm sure they took names too at the same time, just in case. And that ship was also told by the public that they just found another crashed aircraft, new jet, was supposedly what it was. So it was carted off, taken back to Roswell, and examined. The bodies were basically dissected. That little film they showed of the alien dissection, that was the real thing. Someone snuck it out and decided to hold on to it for a while until everything got cooled down.
So wait, someone took a body?
No. Someone was taking film of the entire incident.
So that alien autopsy fact or fiction video is the actual alien autopsy of Roswell?
Yes, it is. There was no way Hollywood at the time could have done something that exact.
Okay, so this was from the second crash, not the original Roswell crash.
No, this was the second crash, the second ship they had found with the bodies.
Now, what did they find on the first ship?
This debris field is all it was.
Okay, so there was nothing left?
They have it all carted back at Wright-Pat somewhere. Some say the stuff got buried. Other things, they just said they just went through it. But when they found the main ship, that ship was for a short time at Wright-Patterson, where they examined it, and then ended up over at Groom Lake, Area 51.
Okay, so that's all that's been found at Roswell. That's the whole story.
Yeah, mostly all the stuff right now is over Area 51.
Okay, so now you mentioned something a while ago about the about what they found on the second crash, the bodies. Now, what were you saying about that?
Well, they said one or two of them were still alive for a couple of weeks, and then they died. And then basically also they said when they opened the bodies, there was extremely sickening odor coming from the bodies.
Like just like death, or worse than
Not
death?
really worse than death. It's just the blood chemistry, the bodily fluids, whatever, reeked real bad. Some people got sick. There's rumors of someone maybe died or two. I'm not sure what's going on. All I know is
Just from odors?
it's from the odors.
Wow.
The bacteria coming out of the bodies. Some of these people sick. Some actually, one or two actually died. That's when the bodies were sealed up real quick. And some say the bodies are just buried.
Now, didn't you say something about how they were alien human hybrids?
The bodies were just under 4 feet tall, looking like children. Basically, the report did mention that they appeared to be human alien hybrids.
Okay, so the bodies happen to be alien human hybrids?
Yes, hybrids from our own future. It seems like it was not an interstellar craft. It was a time ship, chrono ship, however you're going to put it, from our own future.
Do you know how far in the future?
Oh, I would probably say about at least 1,000, maybe 2,000 in our future.
Really?
They said as a report, after looking everything over, they said there's no way it could have been an interstellar craft. The design was too small, not enough fuel, but it did have some devices on board that would help it travel through the time-space continuum. This they did discover.
So basically kind of like a giant time flux capacitor from Back to the Future?
Something like that, yeah.